Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, What Can the Office of Compliance Assistance in Pollution Prevention Do for You? My name's Helen Miller with the Division of Environmental and Financial Assistance here at Ohio EPA, and I will be moderating this morning's presentation. Our presenter this morning is Emily Eskridge from our Office of Compliance Assistance in Pollution Prevention. Now I will turn the mic over to our presenter, Emily.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for attending today's webinar about OCAP services. The Office of Compliance Assistance in Pollution Prevention, also known as OCAP, it's a mouthful, offers a variety of free and confidential services to assist small businesses in Ohio with their regulatory requirements. Here's a quick overview of what we're going to be discussing today. We're going to start by looking at the complexity of environmental regulations for businesses. We're going to talk a little bit then about common regulatory requirements for businesses in Ohio, and then we will look at what OCAP's compliance assistance services, what we can do for you to assist you with those regulatory requirements. And we're going to finish today looking at some of the other services that OCAP can provide for businesses in Ohio as well. We'll also leave you with some contact should you feel like you need our assistance in the future, or if you want to reach out about anything else you see today. So let's get started. As we get started, we're going to talk a lot about general environmental compliance requirements that businesses face. Ultimately, there's a variety of regulatory obligations that touch every type of media regulated by our agency. When I say media, I mean like water, air, waste, things that we tend to regulate. Most facilities have to navigate several different federal and state requirements, and they all come with their own different pieces to achieve compliance. You can kind of see some of those pieces here on the slide. You may find that your business needs multiple permits, has to keep a variety of records for each permit, and in some instances require a certified operator. You may have to juggle 3 different kinds of licenses, multiple registrations, and on top of that, track your materials day to day. It can be really complex, so it can get really overwhelming. There can be a lot to manage. Even if you just have 1 or 2 permits, it can kind of be complex. And the requirements may vary based on those permits and based on what kind of media that they're for. All of this is really just to say that it's complex to manage your environmental requirements, let alone determine what actually applies to you, especially if you're a small business. If you're a small business, you may not have a person devoted towards this. You may be the owner of the business doing this. You may be the forklift driver that's also managing these permits and these processes as well. So here at Ohio EPA, we have OCAP to try to assist you with some of these. Before we go any further, though, we're going to take a quick poll. So poll question number 1 is, what industry best describes you? So we're going to launch the poll here shortly.
Okay, I've launched the poll, so your selections are consulting, government, business owner, environmental health and safety, or other, and you can select all that apply. It looks like most people have voted. If you have not, go ahead and make your final selections. Okay, Emily, I am sharing the results.
All right, let's look at these results. It looks like the majority of us here are environmental health and safety specialists or with government. Some are in consulting, business owners, or others. It's a good mix. We got a good mix of people here today. All right, so how do you know what applies to your business? Step 1 of achieving compliance is really determining what applies to your business to understand what requirements you need to meet. This step's critical, but it can be really time-consuming and confusing as well. We just covered all of the different requirements, how there may be multiple pieces with each requirement. It's complex, and just knowing like what the right question is to ask is a good place to start, but it can be hard to even know what that is. There are multiple processes to look at, things to consider, and information that you need to know in order to just start looking around. So we're going to take a look today at common regulatory requirements that many businesses have to comply with. Do you create waste? This is one of the first questions I like to ask businesses when we start to talk about their environmental requirements. I have yet to encounter one that told me no, they don't create any waste at all. And honestly, if you are a zero waste company, I would encourage you to reach out to us at the end because we would love to recognize you for being zero waste. All businesses that have waste have at least one requirement, and that is to determine if your waste is hazardous. Based on this determination, you may have additional requirements as well. If you just generate non-hazardous waste, you can recycle it or put it in a dumpster to go to a landfill. But if you do generate hazardous waste, you must dispose of it properly. Either way, this is a common citation issued for businesses because the inspector will come out, find hazardous waste in your dumpster, then you find yourself in a little bit of trouble. And you may find yourself in enforcement if the agency finds hazardous waste just placed in the trash. So it's really important that you do your due diligence in determining and managing your hazardous waste properly. Let's say you do generate hazardous waste though. Hazardous waste generators may have additional responsibilities beyond just determining if their waste is hazardous. Based on the quantity you generate or store on site monthly, you may also have to obtain a US EPA identification number. Businesses that generate more than half of a 55-gallon barrel or 100 kilograms a month of hazardous waste will need to obtain an identification number. This is a relatively straightforward process with Ohio EPA. The number is assigned by us, and you have to complete the RCRA Subtitle C Site ID form and submit it electronically through My RCRA Aid online. It's a process. You obtain your number, you're now registered as a hazardous waste facility or generator. If you are a business that generates less than a half of a 55-gallon barrel of hazardous waste, so you're known as a very small quantity generator, then you don't have to necessarily obtain an identification number. However, sometimes your hazardous waste transporter may ask for one. So I'd like to tell businesses that just because this isn't a requirement for you, sometimes your transporter, when you dispose of your hazardous waste properly, will say, hey, I would like your registration or your identification number. If they ask for that, you can still obtain one. Just because it's not a requirement doesn't preclude you from actually getting one. And it can actually be helpful to your transporter for you to have one. So you can always reach out and do it even as a very small quantity generator as well. Another question we would ask businesses is, are you managing universal waste? So universal waste is a special category of items that typically would be considered hazardous waste. There's 7 of these categories: lamps, which is a fancy term for light bulbs, suspended or recalled pesticides, mercury-containing devices, thermostats are in there a lot, batteries, aerosol cans, antifreeze, paint, and paint-related waste. You'll notice with a lot of these types of waste, they're really commonly generated waste. They're waste that a lot of businesses produce, a lot of people have, they're part of a lot of general processes. That's why they're put under these special categories as universal waste. And the trick with universal waste is managing it appropriately. If you follow the universal waste rules with these products, they don't count towards the accumulated hazardous waste on site because you're managing them in a different way. The universal waste rules in general encourage recycling too, so a lot of these products are recycled when you use them as universal waste, overall reducing the amount of waste you're producing as a business as a whole. But if you're generating any of these kinds of categories, I really encourage you to manage them as universal waste instead of hazardous waste and manage them properly for your business. The next category I would encourage businesses to consider is if they generate any type of wastewater. Wastewater is generated from water that has been used during your industrial business process. It can come in many forms, as seen here on this slide. Some businesses may have process solutions. It could be water generated during a cooling process for your business. It could also just be water used to clean equipment, maybe your trucks, maybe the outside of your building, maybe the equipment itself. However you plan to dispose of the wastewater determines if you have environmental requirements. Some wastewater can be disposed of in conjunction with your local publicly owned treatment works. Now, to do that, you have to talk with them. It would be an agreement between you and them. But sometimes if it's stored, treated, or discharged directly from your facility, you may have an environmental requirement with our agency. Depending on the method you choose, you may need a permit to install, or some other requirements with us. And there's a variety of requirements that may apply to your facility. So it's important, if you do generate some wastewater, to determine what those are and make sure that you are in compliance. Another requirement for water permitting may impact certain businesses that have an increased potential to contaminate stormwater. Stormwater is, of course, water from storms. And this really applies to businesses that have any sort of industrial process outside. Facilities with materials exposed to the elements often must obtain a stormwater PTI. The most common way to know whether or not your facility may trigger these requirements is to look up your standard industrial classification code. We also call that the SIC code. You can determine that usually based on your financial pieces and how much of what you are generating as a facility. That's where the SIC code will come in. But we do encourage you to know what your SIC code is. If you have more than one, the one that's most applicable, like I said, usually can be determined by talking with your financial department. There's a couple of things about the stormwater permit that may apply to your business. There is a general permit available, and a lot of facilities may find that that applies to their business. Also, even if your SIC code indicates that you may need a stormwater permit, if all of those processes are done under a storm-resistant shelter, you may also qualify for a no exposure exemption, which would be really nice as well. So it's really great to look at your process, look at what you can do maybe to limit your facility's exposure to stormwater. But you may have another requirement with us if you are an industrial process that is exposed to stormwater and your SIC code triggers you into needing a stormwater permit. So another big category for a lot of businesses, is, do you discharge air pollutants? So when you need, whether or not you're discharging air pollutants, when you discharge air pollutants, it sometimes is good to look at the 4 rules of thumb for whether or not you may need some form of air permit. Do you have something with a stack, vent, or a dust collector? Are you doing a process that uses solvents, paints, inks, or adhesives? Is it something that burns fuel, a lot of fuel, at your facility? Or do you do something, is there a process that causes smoke, dust, or odor at your facility? If any of these apply to you, you probably need some form of permitting, or at least need to be evaluated for whether or not you need some form of permitting with our agency. There's a variety of different categories out there for people who generate air pollutants, essentially. There are Title V facilities, which are very large facilities. They generate 100 tons per year or more of any one regulated criteria pollutant, 10 tons per more a year of a hazardous air pollutant, a HAP, or 25 tons or more for any of 2 HAPs. Those are really big facilities, and typically those are not the small businesses that we assist with. For the small businesses we assist with, it can sound really overwhelming, like, oh, I'm going to need all of this permitting. You may qualify for some more straightforward permitting processes. We offer a lot of PBRs for very common practices that typically need an air permit. A PBR is a simplified process where you follow the requirements in rule and essentially are permitted by the rule. You could be de minimis, meaning you just don't produce that much air pollutants, and you may qualify for reduced requirements being de minimis, or you might even be exempt based on some of your processes. So even though these rules of thumb may apply to you, you may be looking at this. As a small business, it could be that there are ways for you to reduce the requirements to get these permits, or have more simplified options for permitting requirements for you. That's something we can help you kind of evaluate for your business. So now that we've kind of looked at some very general requirements, what are the very big general requirements for most businesses with our agency? Usually they're waste, there's some form of water requirements, and definitely some form of air requirements. We want to talk a little bit about the Office of Compliance Assistance and Pollution Prevention and what we can do for you, essentially. We are a non-regulatory arm within Ohio EPA, and we assist small businesses with their regulatory needs. We are free and confidential. And we also can help identify pollution prevention measures or identify processes that may help you reduce your requirements with our agency. So like when I talked about stormwater before, what would it take for you to maybe qualify for a no exposure exemption? Then you're exempt from requirements. We provide a variety of assistance tools as well. So our shop also maintains tools like the Permit Wizard. A few weeks ago, I gave a talk about Permit Wizard. We've just released an updated version of it. It's a great online tool for you to go in and look at different requirements and answer questions for your businesses. We also help maintain AnswerPlace. We produce a variety of different webinar series to help you learn about your requirements or how to do certain things with our agency. We also host conferences and workshops to help you learn more about how to work with our agency and accomplish your regulatory tasks and stay into compliance as well. We also help identify market development and recycling opportunities too. So we do go above and beyond compliance assistance. There's more that you can do with our office to help with your business. All right, so we're going to stop again and take another quick poll. So poll question number 2, have you ever contacted OCAP for assistance?
Okay, I have launched the poll. So go ahead and select an answer. Just select one, yes, no, or you're not sure. And it looks like most people have voted. If you want to wrap up making your selections or selection. Okay, I'm going to close the poll and share the results.
Oh my gosh, look at how many people have not reached out to our office. I hope you've heard about us though, and I'm really excited to see that 12% of you have reached out to us before. We're a great resource, and I hope after today's presentation, maybe more of you are encouraged to talk with us. All right, so moving right along, like I mentioned, OCAP is a free and confidential service. So when I say confidential, that's one of the hardest things we have to convince people of. We are hosted here inside a regulatory agency or housed inside a regulatory agency, but we are a non-regulatory arm. And so essentially we don't come out cite violations or anything like that, and we are confidential. We are confidential by law. So I like to put this on here that the confidentiality is established by Ohio Revised Code. We cannot violate that confidentiality just like you can't violate the law. So we're bound by that law just like you. There are a handful of really narrow exceptions, though, where we can report out something that we see. It's got to be egregious, though. And so you'll see these kind of 3 narrow exceptions: clear and immediate danger, criminal. And when I say egregious and clear and immediate danger, I'm talking Ninja Turtles popping out of the sewers near your facility, green slime going in there, radioactive, rats and turtles fighting in the streets now. It's got to be really bad. So we really are a confidential service. We do not communicate with the regulatory side unless you want us to. We can't help facilitate, discussions between you and a permit writer or stuff like that. But we are a confidential service, and we are confidential by law. So we can't breach that confidentiality. Just like I mentioned before, we're bound by law, just like you're bound by law. And like I've mentioned, we have no regulatory authority. So we can't come out there and say, oh, you aren't doing this, here's a violation. So we're not going to cite a violation. We're not going to be able to fine you. We're just here to make recommendations. Ultimately, if we come out and we can assist you to get into compliance, then everybody's happy. Most businesses, you just want to be in compliance. You're just trying to navigate what is a complex set of regulations. If we can help you get there, our agency's happy because you're in compliance. I'm happy because you're in compliance. You're happy because everybody's in compliance. It's really a win-win situation. We can get you there. Everybody's doing what they should be doing. We're all winning in that scenario. So what specific things do we often assist with? On the compliance assistance side, we provide a lot of environmental assistance. We have 9 compliance assistance specialists throughout the state. They're situated in district offices, and they can come out and provide that environmental assistance to your facility or do it even over the phone. It is held in strict confidence. I keep emphasizing that confidentiality. We are a confidential service. You can't even FOIA request the stuff that comes through our office, through our service, because we are confidential. It's not subject to public records. And more importantly, it's free. I know that's the price that everybody really likes to hear about, free things. That's my favorite price of services too, is when they're free. We also offer a lot of help for small businesses. So we can help you with your compliance needs. We can help you complete and submit those permit applications and forms. I like to tell people we can help with those emissions calculations when you're doing those permits. We can do the math. We're happy to help you with that. That's something that I think a lot of people don't like to do, is the math. We got you there. We can help you resolve NOVs. If you receive a violation and you're like, hey, I just don't really understand what I need to be doing here. I'm trying to work with them. How do I get, back into compliance? We can kind of help you with that as well. And then we can also, like I said, work in liaison with you, with the permit writers, to help organize and facilitate those meetings, communicate back and forth, really simplify language. If the language is complex, we can help you understand, what they're asking for and provide that response to them. And then we also can help with record keeping. A lot of facilities have to maintain records, whether you're permitted or not. There's a lot of record keeping that's involved with environmental regulations. We can help you set that up, know what that should look like, and have it on hand and ready if your facility is ever inspected. We also offer a variety of services beyond compliance assistance as well. One of the things we do is we help fund small businesses to improve recycling opportunities or recycling market development. We provide recycling grants. Currently, it's $4 million of annual funds. Our latest round of grant applications just closed in February. The cycle typically runs November through February. But if your facility is looking to recycle more of either a product they're generating or use recycled feedstock and take that in and make products out of recycled materials, we have grants available to help you fund some of that. We also help businesses collaborate with each other through Ohio Materials Marketplace. This is a marketplace that helps businesses connect with either materials they don't want anymore or maybe materials they are looking for. It could be anything from office furniture, maybe shelving. It could be feedstock, like, hey, I'm done with all these plastic sacks. Someone else is looking for them to recycle them. And these items on this marketplace could be free or they could be there for a small fee, but it's just a way for businesses to kind of put their products out there, maybe reduce their waste cost or reduce their overhead costs if they're trying to get a new stock and collaborate with each other. We also provide a recognition services with our Encouraging Environmental Excellence, or E3 program. This is a program where your business can be recognized for being environmentally excellent or being a great environmental steward for our state. So as I talked before, there are a couple of commonly provided assistance things that we assist with. One of the big ones is permits to install and operate. We've gone through kind of, does my facility need a permit? We've looked at some of those. If you, after listening to this presentation are thinking, oh man, I think I do need a permit. I don't even know where to start. We can help you figure that out. We can help you obtain that permit. We can help you do the math for it. We can help you get everything that you need together to get your permit together. We do the emissions calculations. We can help you set up your record keeping, look at what is required by that permit. It's usually spelled out in the permit, but sometimes it can be hard to kind of really understand what exactly they're looking for there. We can help you get set up for that. We also do report completion and submission. So a lot of permits require some sort of permit or some sort of reporting out to the agency, at least annually, to let us know, are you in compliance with your permit? What are things that need to change? All of that. We can help with that. So if you're reading it, maybe there's an acronym on there you don't understand. Maybe, you think you have everything together, but you just want someone to help you verify. Maybe you're brand new at this. we can help look at that with you as well and get that submitted to our agency. And then we also offer on-site compliance reviews. This is really the most comprehensive way for us to assist your business. We can come out and just take a look around. We're the only multimedia service with our agency. So we can look at, your air streams, your water streams, your waste streams, and just kind of decide, do you need a permit here? Maybe you have a permit. Maybe your process has changed a little bit and you actually qualify for an exemption now. You can reduce some of your burden a little bit. But it is the most holistic way for us to really assist you and really help you determine whether or not you're fully in compliance with requirements of our agency. So there's a couple of benefits to on-site assistance that I really wanted to highlight here today. I know with COVID, I think a lot of facilities are really leery to have people come into their facility. I know that, with us having the Ohio EPA umbrella, I think sometimes people are cautious about that too. I'm going to reemphasize here that we are free and confidential. We're confidential. We're just going to provide you with recommendations when we leave, if we come do a site visit. And it is really the best way to get, like I said, a comprehensive list of recommendations that we can provide to your business. It's a multimedia review. So we're not just coming in and looking at maybe your air requirements. We can, if that's all you want us to look at, is like, hey, I think I need an air permit for this. I'm not real sure. Don't look over here in this corner. We can do that. We can come in and just look at one thing. But honestly, the best bang for your free dollars that you're going to give us is to have us do a multimedia review. Have us come out and look at what is happening at your facility and try to determine, do you have everything you need? Do you need something else? Like I said, maybe you qualify for an exemption or a PBR, something that's a little more simplified. We also offer pollution prevention services. So maybe there's a way to alter the process and reduce your requirements as well. But we're looking at everything at the facility. We don't just have to look at air or just water or just stormwater. We can look holistically at what you're doing. We also can kind of help you be prepared for an inspection. If you haven't been inspected for a long time and you know it's coming up, you're a little anxious about that, have us come out ahead of time. We can tell you, what we see, make recommendations so that you can, make sure that you're in compliance when it is time. And then we can also help you improve your record keeping. Sometimes, if you have an inspection at your facility, the inspector may come out and ask for records. And, if you don't have them right away or if they're not neat and organized, it might make them, want to look a little further. If you're uncertain about what that looks like for your facility, if you're like, I think I'm doing a great job, but I'm not really sure, we can look at your records. We can look at how they're being kept. We can make suggestions. We can kind of help you improve that as well. And then, like I keep saying, this is the most comprehensive way to get recommendations for your facility. We're not going to issue any violations. We don't have any regulatory authority. We can just come out and essentially make recommendations. This is what we found. This is what we know, really needs to happen. We think you have everything, or maybe, we look over here and we're like, this really could be improved upon. But it's holistic. It's a multimedia review, and we are able to give you the best help we can by being on site. And once again, we are free and confidential. So, I joke getting the most bang for your buck. You're a very free buck that you're giving us. We are not, there's no fee associated with our services. And we are confidential. We're just going to make recommendations to you. We're going to help you help yourself. So as I mentioned previously, something else we do provide is pollution prevention, which is what P2 is, and sustainable materials services. We can come on site and we can help you identify and evaluate waste reduction opportunities. And essentially, we work with you to try to figure out the best way to reduce the waste you're producing and maybe eliminate some of the environmental regulations that may apply to your business, even if we can reduce the waste or reduce, something that's producing something that would cause the need to have a permit. It really helps businesses. You can wind up benefiting economically from this because you can reduce your waste cost if you have a pollution prevention analysis. And then we also, when we're out there doing pollution prevention, I know I mentioned that Encouraging Environmental Excellence Award. We can come out there and, if you're doing a really great job, potentially recognize your business for doing a really great job as well. And so when we're out there, we can kind of look for those things and maybe help you get there. Or if you're already there, help you apply for that. So after talking about all of this, you may be thinking, okay, this sounds great. I want to learn a little bit more. I don't really know where to start. Maybe I'm brand new. Maybe I'm thinking of starting a business and my business is new. Maybe your business has been established for 30 years and you just took over from your uncle and you're thinking, there's probably stuff here that needs to be done, even though we've been operating for a while. That's okay. Here's some great places to start. Please feel free to scan these QR codes off your screen or take a picture of them, maybe screen capture it, save them for later. The first place I would recommend is our website. Our website provides, all of this information that I'm talking about today with different opportunities. It also has contacts, how to reach out to us. We also offer 2 guides that are really helpful for businesses trying to determine their regulatory requirements or their permitting needs. The Small Business Environmental Assessment Guide is there to help small businesses kind of do like a holistic view of what may apply to me? What are the regulatory requirements that may apply to my business? In general, what should I be looking for? And then the Guide to Environmental Permitting in Ohio is specific to permits. So once you know, hey, I think I need an air permit, that Guide to Environmental Permitting can help you kind of navigate, what do I need to submit for that permit? Where do I submit it? What is the timeline for that? When will I get my permit back? Do I need a permit before I install this piece of equipment? It can really help answer those questions specific to permitting requirements for your business too. But like I said, I would encourage you, like I said, take a screen grab, do the QR codes with your phone. But these are all great places to start if you're trying to determine your requirements for your business. As I mentioned before, OCAP also provides a variety of other assistance tools. We host a variety of other webinars, so I thank you for attending today, but definitely look for more in the future. There's a lot of great webinars to help you learn about your requirements in Ohio, learn how to comply with those requirements, stay up to date. We do really great webinars on upcoming changes to rules or new requirements. And then we also produce guidance manuals, fact sheets, and we have the Permit Wizard as well, which is a really fabulous tool. It's found in our customer support center. I highly recommend you checking that out as well. Another service we provide is we do maintain a hotline from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, as well as a live chat from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. I like to encourage people to reach out to these. If you have a quick question, now if you're looking for a full review of your facilities requirements, I would reach out directly to your compliance assistant specialist. And here shortly, I'm going to have those numbers and where to contact as well for you. But if you've got a quick question, hey, I got this form in, it says I need to turn it back in. I don't really understand this acronym, or, I'm looking for my contact for something. But if you just need to get in touch with us quickly, this is a great way to do it. These are staffed by real people, mostly my team, and all of OCAP throughout the state. But there's people on our group. They're with Ohio EPA. It's not a robot. I think a lot of people look at that chat and they think, oh, it's going to be a bot. No, it's an actual person. When you call, it's another actual person. These are environmental specialists with our agency, and they're happy to help you. So it's a great resource. Highly recommend that you reach out to them if you just need something and are looking for some quick information. The other slide that I wanted to show you here is our OCAP district contacts. So as I mentioned before, there are 9 compliance specialists in the state of Ohio that work with my team, our environmental assistance unit here in OCAP. These people are in various district offices, so they're local to you. This makes it more convenient for you to work directly with them. They understand, the situation and the industry in your area. And I highly recommend you reach out to them directly if you have, a larger assistance request, if you need a site visit, if you really want help with a permit. These are going to be the people that help you, and they're all excellent at what they do. So once again, this is a slide I would encourage you that if you think you're going to need help in the future, if this is something that, as you've gone through this presentation, you're like, man, this is a service I need. Take a picture, screen grab, save this slide because it captures your direct contact in your district office based on your county. All right, one more quick poll if y'all are ready. So our last poll question here is, after today's presentation, do you think you will contact OCAP for assistance?
And I have launched the poll, so please go ahead and make your selection, yes, no, or you're not sure yet. And it looks like most people have voted. If you have not, go ahead and make your selection. Okay, I'm closing the poll and sharing the results.
All right, look at that. Look at how many people want to reach out to us. That makes me happy. Please do. We're always happy to assist you. We're excited when you reach out to get compliance assistance. It makes me happy to see that people would, are trying to comply and, just need our assistance. That's what we're here for. We're excited to help. All right. So as I mentioned before, beyond compliance assistance, we do offer a couple of programs that can be really beneficial to businesses across the state of Ohio. One of the ones that I would like to mention is our recycling and litter prevention grants. Our cycle for those grants is November through early February, so it did just close. However, if this is something that you're looking at and you're like, man, I could use a cardboard baler, or man, I'm starting to think about taking recycled plastics and I'm making a fancy new soap bottle out of them. Definitely reach out and talk with our grant specialist. They'll be able to provide you some assistance on, what those applications look like. And, you can kind of get a head start on getting prepared for this next year. The application is online through Ohio EPA's Customer Support Center. I will mention, though, that this grant process is competitive. I think we got roughly 180 applications this year. So it is a competitive grant. Not all of them are always awarded. So it's best to put your best foot forward. And that's why, even though we just closed, if this is something that you think would apply to your business, go ahead and get started. Let's put our best foot forward to potentially obtain some of those grant dollars. The recycling litter prevention grants apply to anything that really removes waste from the waste stream. We want to encourage recycling either at your business, but we're really looking forward to things that provide a market for recycled products too. So if you're a business that's trying to take recycled products and turn them into a new product, so basically you're a market development, we're creating a market for these recycled materials. Those are definitely businesses that also should apply for these grants for something for your facility. I also want to leave you with our Encouraging Environmental Excellence Award as well. If your business is one that it does have excellent environmental stewardship, it can be a great way for you to apply with our agency, maybe receive this award. And, it looks good for your business. People want to, use a business that's in compliance with all their environmental requirements. And, it looks great for you to be able to brag about that. It's a recognition program for your business, your organization. We also have one for communities and schools as well. So, several of you on here may have children. They may be involved in schools. If your school's doing something really excellent, we can also recognize them there. There are 4 levels. There's an achievement, a silver, a gold, and a platinum level. As I mentioned on the previous slide of pollution prevention visits, we can kind of come out and look and see, if you meet that level, maybe make some suggestions even to get you to the next level. And it's great bragging rights. I always joke with people that there's nothing better than being able to brag to your competitor that you're doing something better than them. So let us recognize you. If you're doing really excellent environmentally sustainable or environmental process, if you're an excellent environmental steward, we would love to have you come through our program and get recognized for it. And we'll help you with the application. So don't feel like it's super overwhelming. We have people here to help you, manage that application so that we can recognize you. All right, everybody. So we are at the end of the presentation today. I do want to tell you all thank you for being here. I really hope you learned something about the services we offer. I was really encouraged to see that a lot of you might reach out in the future. Please do. Like I said, we really want to assist you. We want to help you get in compliance. We're a great resource and we're the right price because we're free. If you need more information and you would like to hear more about our services, scan that QR code. It'll take you to our compliance assistance page and you'll be able to find more information from there and get started working with us. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Emily. Now we're going to answer some questions that came in during today's presentation. As a reminder, you can still submit questions through the questions pane. We'll do our best to answer as many as we can. If we don't answer your question, we will reach out to you via email following the webinar. So Emily, we had a question, can I get a violation if you find something wrong?
So I mentioned this in the presentation, but the answer is no, not from us. We are a confidential service. So I've mentioned that before. It's in law. We aren't going to take anything that we find back to anybody that can issue a violation to you. We're just there to make recommendations. And like I said, it's a win-win scenario. We know what inspectors are looking for. We know what the requirements are. We can come out, look at your facility, or just help you navigate those pieces. We're going to send you recommendations back and hope that you follow them, because then you're going to be in good standing.
Okay, we have another question. Do you offer virtual or phone assistance, or do we have to meet in person?
So we definitely offer a lot of assistance virtually or over the phone. Especially with the pandemic, we're all very savvy with Teams and Zoom and all of that now. So if you want to meet virtually, face-to-face, we even have that option. I would even say the bulk of what we do is over the phone or through email at this point. We'd love to come on site. Like I said, it's a great way for us to give you the most comprehensive review. But if you're just looking for help with a permit, hey, I've got a report to submit, I've got a permit that needs to be renewed, we can do a lot of that over the phone and via email. This is a super convenient way to work with us. We're happy to do that.
Okay, and another question, can you provide a few more details on how you can save my business money?
Well, first off, our services are free. So coming out and doing any sort of compliance assistance with you saves you money because we're a free service. But ultimately, we do have the recycling and sustainability grants. So if you're looking for any sort of recycling, you can apply for those grants. We have pollution prevention services. So we can come out and look at your business and look at, maybe your waste streams, products you're using, things like that, and determine, maybe you can be exempt from certain permitting requirements if you change one of the processes that you're doing. We can help you become more sustainable and ultimately eliminate some of those wastes that you're generating, because that waste can cost you money and usually does. It costs businesses money to generate waste and remove that waste. But ultimately, by determining your requirements, trying to reduce those requirements, trying to help you become more sustainable, we can help you save money that way.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up. I know we have some very site-specific and permit-specific questions coming in, and you will receive an answer via email after the webinar. But I would again like to thank Emily for her presentation, and thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. Before we end for the day, please check out our upcoming webinars. On March 2nd, we have a webinar, How to Apply for an Encouraging Environmental Excellence Award. Emily talked about the program earlier, so attend this webinar to learn the details on how to apply for the various awards. This year's deadline to apply is April 30th. Then on March 30th, we have a webinar on energy efficiency and industrial decarbonization. What can the Industrial Assessment Center do for you? So join us to learn about the services of the University of Dayton's Industrial Assessment Center. You'll learn about energy assessments they offer, resources available, and some case studies of assessments. Then on April 4th, we have a webinar on the Water Resource Restoration Sponsorship Program. Join us to get the scoop on what's new, updates and highlights for the program year 2024, including pre-nomination meetings, the program's annual call for project nominations, sponsorship, project management plans, readiness to proceed criteria, and more. So to register for these upcoming webinars, you can go to our agency event calendar, and that link is on the next slide. And you can also get to our agency events calendar on our main web page. And it is also on the bottom of each of the web page footers as well. So to receive notifications of upcoming webinars, go to our Ohio EPA Customer Support Center. You can create an account, then go to the option Subscribe to Updates. You select the option All Trainings, Webinars, and Conferences at the link on the slide. And the Customer Support Center link is also at the bottom footer of each web page. If you miss past webinars, you can go to DEFA's webpage, the link on the slide. Once you're on the DEFA webpage, click on the word Training on the left-hand menu column. Here you'll find recordings of training you may have missed. You can also go to our agency YouTube channel to review recorded webinars. We'll post a recording of this webinar on our YouTube channel. It usually posts within a week of the webinar. We also post a PDF copy of the PowerPoint slides with recording. And the YouTube channel link can also be found at the bottom of each of our web pages on the footer. And the YouTube icon is next to the Twitter icon on the bottom right-hand side. With that, we'll end today's webinar. Thank you again for joining us, and have a great day.